Our country needs a new vision for drug policy that protects and appreciates life.
You look at the numbers of people, the ratio of people who use marijuana across the country, seeking life, liberty, and justice for a very long time.
It'll change the trajectory for individuals and the impact on their families, and it'll avoid and move away from leaving us in a place where we've fractured families and we've devastated communities.
We have policies that are incarcerating people for a disease such as substance use disorder.
Criminalizing substance use disorder.
There's now widespread understanding about the problems of mass incarceration, and the war on drugs has played an integral role in putting thousands of people in cages.
Replace it with a public health response that promotes the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of individuals as well as the community at large.
This is a public health crisis. It needs to be treated as such.
There should be no barriers to people who have addiction problems and need and want treatment. I think we are making steps in that direction and being creative, including training for the workforce of clinicians that can provide these services. And of course, if we put that system in place, it should remain there as an essential part of our healthcare system.
Looking at a different front door for individuals who are trying to deal with the challenges of substance use disorder will impact all of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Part of what's important to note about that phrase in the Declaration of Independence was that it was preceded by this concept that all men were created equal.
For lower level drug offenses, it's not always long periods of incarceration, but it can be a lifetime of a different kind of liberty, not able to get certain jobs, not being at liberty to pursue certain educational opportunities because a drug conviction prevents you from working in a certain field or for getting funding for school under certain government programs.
There's nothing more important than someone's liberty.
The issue of liberty is at the heart of concerns that we should have about the way the Controlled Substances Act and drug law and policy has played out.
Our current drug policies are not protecting or supporting life.
The reality is that the treatment of communities have not been equal.
We pride ourselves on being a free country, and in the realm of drug policy, that can't be further from the truth.
We have to understand that we've got to stop doing what we've been doing for the last few decades.
There needs to be different levels of enforcement. There needs to be a connection to how states decide to modify or implement any policy change going forward.
We need a drug policy that focuses on health.
The time is now to remove marijuana from the entire scheduling system. The Attorney General can do that with the stroke of a pen.
It's a public health crisis, and it should be dealt with as a public health crisis, making the prosecutors in the criminal justice system not such a big part.
Rather than making changes at the margins, recreate and redefine the starting point. Rather than presuming that we can somehow punish our way out of struggles individuals are facing that really are reflective of public health.
Back 50 years, it was probably a very innovative approach, but I don't think that we have appropriately evolved.
There has to be work done to reduce harms associated with drug policies so that communities who are most vulnerable, the communities who are most impacted, get to reap those benefits as well.
Probably the biggest priority around drug policy is reframing the role of scientific evidence in driving drug policy.
We need to do a better job to assess whether or not the interventions that we are undertaking are actually effective, and we need to put such an oversight mechanism in place and keep it there.
States are innovating right now because what may be the right drug policy for Phoenix, Arizona may or may not be the right drug policy for Columbus, Ohio, or Washington, D.C. What may be a good policy for one state doesn't necessarily have to be the same policy for another one, and I think that federal law too often occupies the field.
If we can no longer make this a criminal offense, that would be huge.
We need to start over.
Scientific evidence can help us understand how we can use drugs to promote emotional and societal well-being.